the weekend, because The View is live. Cover up. The latest on the whistleblower's claim that the president and key members of his administration pressured a foreign power to interfere in the 2020 election. Did Trump just make an ominous warning to keep people quiet?
You know what we used to do in the old days when we were smart? We despised and treason, right?
Divided in halftime. Latina superstars J-Lo and Shakira are taking center stage at the next Super Bowl halftime show. Are they turning their backs on racial protests in the NFL? And celeb chef Bobby Blaze bringing the heat when he serves up fearless flavors from his kitchen. Let's fire up Friday Hot Topics with Whoopi, Abby Huntsman, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, Meghan McCain, and Anna Navarro. Now, let's get things started.
We have Anna back today, and the rest of us are here. We're here. Okay, thank you. So, the tension must be through the roof at the White House, right? After yesterday's congressional hearing, here's what happened. So, they heard testimony about the whistleblower who claimed that Trump pressured the Ukrainian president to interfere in the 2020 election by digging up dirt on Joe and Hunter Biden. Okay? Attorney General William Barr, Rudy Giuliani, and others were also implicated in this situation. So some Republicans, like Lindsey Graham, he still insists that this is a nothing burger. Let me remind Lindsey that Bill Clinton was impeached for getting his freak on at the White House. Isn't Trump guilty of abuse of power and obstruction of justice? Your thoughts, ladies?
Well, if you have a moral compass, then yes. Look, abuse of power is one thing, and then getting to impeachment is another conversation. But anyone who's out there saying this is not an abuse of power in any way, then shame on you, because you have no dignity. You lost what you stood for, because I'm always country before your political party. So I don't care, especially if you're Republican, because national security should be the bones and the meat of the party. Yeah. But if you watched this yesterday, and you were actually on Capitol Hill, so you probably didn't watch it live, but it was Director of National Intelligence, Joe McGuire, who had to go up and answer some serious questions. And there was, at first, the exchange between him and Adam Schiff, which I personally found uncomfortable, because Joe McGuire's not the bad guy in this. Right. He is someone who's served this country. I felt bad for him. And if you're watching as an American,
he's the guy, now that you brought him up, who got this whistleblower report, and instead of giving it to Congress, he brought it to the White House.
And that's very troubling.
And then, of course, they didn't want to put him on
DNI. He's the acting DNI, and he had just been in there for a few days.
But it's still very troubling, because if you look at the statute says that the DNI shall turn it over to Congress. And you know this, Anna, from going to law school. You take a course on what shall means, all the different statutory words. It's shall, may, must. Shall means you have to do it. And if you look at the whistleblower complaint, it alleges behavior by the president, by the attorney general, by Rudy Giuliani. And so why would you take that complaint to the president? I mean, if you ask me to grade myself, hey guys, time, right? And so to actually go to the White House to do that, I think McGuire, in a sense, didn't do his duty. So is he the bad guy?
If you want to go to war with Joe McGuire here, by all means, but Democrats are going to lose that battle. Well, because this is a man that was in that role for 4 days, and what he said was this was unprecedented.
But it's
because it was about the president. It is important, because that is ultimately why it got shut down, because he handed it to the White House, and the White House then handed it to the Justice Department, and that's where it got shut down. And my point is,
problematic.
if you are an American watching that exchange yesterday, I can guarantee if you're a Democrat and you want to make him the evil person here,
I think Americans are a little more concerned with what the president did.
But you think his motivation was wrong,
I agree with
That's what you're accusing him of.
I actually think we need to, one of the things that I think would be effective if it happened here is for Democrats and Republicans who want to get to the facts and investigate this to be narrow about their scope, right?
Yes.
This is not about the emoluments clause. This is not about the Mueller report. This is about the fact that the President of the United States tried to blackmail a foreign government into giving him dirt on a political opponent. It is a campaign finance violation.
And an abuse
It
of
is a
power.
national security threat, and it is an abuse of power.
Sure.
Focus on that.
Right.
You know, and there's going to be a lot of trying to muddy the waters. I think every time they throw Rudy Giuliani out there to act like an insane person, porque está loco.
But
You know,
there
it's a
also,
distraction.
is the situation of Attorney General Barr.
Yeah.
Do you think that he should recuse himself?
must recuse
because
himself.
he is in the package.
Well, I have a few things. First and
Do you
foremost,
answer the question?
well, I have a few things first because it goes to
Oh,
a
well, forget the
broader.
question by then.
He must recuse himself.
Okay.
Is the answer to your question, in my
Yeah.
view. He must.
Congress
To
is
the
off
point where I
for
miss Jeff Sessions.
Congress is off for 2 weeks right now, and there's going to be a lot of people going home and talking to their constituents about the political implications of this. First and foremost, I think this is a great news cycle for Elizabeth Warren because no matter what, Joe Biden is caught up through his son, whether he likes it or not, in this. I will say it was hard for me to watch the president of the Ukraine when Abby and I were talking about this with President Trump because the Ukraine has fought so hard for freedom against Vladimir Putin. If anyone paid attention to what happened in the last few years, the annexing of Crimea, this is an area of the world that is fighting for democracy against Vladimir Putin, and that president will do anything, and I think possibly lie, because he's just worried about his own country, and I don't necessarily blame him. So I think touting him out in front of the press corps was a little bit uncouth.
But doesn't that make Donald Trump's actions,
Yes,
if true,
yes,
even
yes,
worse?
yes.
He's holding
Yes.
money.
100%.
Yeah,
And because,
away from
and the whole crux of this is that Congress had approved money being given to the Ukraine, who again want independence, want freedom, want democracy. And then President Trump said, actually, I'm not going to give you this money, allegedly, I'm not going to give you this money unless you give me information.
27.
And Hunter Biden.
To your point
But
about
it's-
Elizabeth Warren, can I please
Sure.
interrupt you? Don't you think that politically it's kind of dumb for the Republicans to go after Joe Biden's son when he already lost a son and a
Yes.
daughter and a wife?
It makes me very uncomfortable.
I mean, people feel sorry for Joe, and
Yes,
now and
myself
it's not
included.
him. He didn't do a thing. Maybe his son was working. Basically, it boils down to nepotism. And Trump's got all his whole family working in the White House. We want to talk about nepotism.
But look, it doesn't look great that he was
Doesn't look
taking
great.
this
But he
amount of money
really-
from the Ukraine. But I will say,
Yeah.
he has been very open with his addiction issues. I have
Hunter Biden.
Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
I have nothing but compassion for people who suffer from addiction issues.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that this is where this conversation is going. And I actually saw a clip of someone on Fox News last night who was attempting to bring it up. And I think it is just the lowest form of common denominator
It is.
political
But
analysis.
Can I also say that's why, in my opinion, I think Nancy Pelosi has waited so much to finally push the button on impeachment
We're going
inquiry.
to get to that soon.
But I was just going to say about Joe Biden, I think that she's worried that this could hurt him too.
Well, listen,
It's
As the front runner.
I think she just learned about
I think
this
it's
stuff.
important to highlight here that both the Ukrainian government, first, the Hunter Biden contract with the gas company went through the purview of the State Department and they approved it. The Ukrainian government, there's been no finding of any evidence of malfeasance or any criminal activity. Now, does it look good? No. Joe Biden's son was getting $50,000 a month to sit in the board of a gas company in Ukraine, and
Does he have any
probably
experience in that area?
no, but he's got a last name.
So it looks
And
bad,
that
but he
helps.
didn't do
Having
anything
the right
bad.
last name.
It just
No, but-
looks bad.
but-
So
but,
don't
you know,
think that the
Clinton
Trump
did it.
administration will not use it to the max and make up lies around it and say that it was
That's what
against
he's
the law.
doing.
And
Here's
it
the
wasn't.
other thing. The reason we're here talking about this is because of this whistleblower.
Yes.
Right? And what I do like about this situation is that he didn't go to the press. He went the right route
He
to
did.
give the information to the
That's
person
right.
that he thought. And then that's actually what Joe McGuire was saying yesterday. He
His
praised him
life's
for
about to
doing
be
it.
ruined, though.
Yeah, and this is the problem. And this is why a lot of people don't want to work in government anymore.
And McGuire
Because
also said
this-
yesterday, that he did the right thing.
Yes.
He praised him, and I think it's important to highlight
That was important.
Yeah.
So it also came out that White House officials went to great lengths to make this go away by burying on it, listen to this, by burying it on a separate computer server. that's usually reserved for top secret CIA ops. And it wasn't the first time they did it. You know, remember, but her emails, but her server. Meanwhile, they took this stuff that they didn't want to get out and they put it on this separate server so that no one would find out about it.
This phone call.
I mean, this is a cover-up. There are many people involved in the cover-up, and I'd like to know, I bet there's more stuff on that server that's got to come out.
Well, that was really disconcerting. I think Megan and I were talking about this in particular, the fact that White House attorney, we were texting, White House attorneys felt that this was grave enough that they needed to cover it up. That caused me great concern.
Because it went into a classified document.
It looks really bad because it looks like you're trying to hide things on purpose. But the counter argument that Republicans are giving is that there's such a breakdown in trust between the intelligence community and the Trump administration that they felt like they had to move everything. Whether you believe that or not is up to the American public.
It just so happens he was asking for help from the Ukrainians against Biden.
But clearly there were some good people in the White House, though, that because the whistleblower is a secondhand source. So we got that information, and what he said, what he said he overheard was exactly what was in the
So we'll have more people to testify. Okay, coming up, I want to talk about Trump now calling for Schiff's resignation, Adam Schiff, and Nancy Pelosi on whether or not she changed her mind about impeachment. We've got a lot on our plate here today. While Congress was talking about the whistleblower yesterday, Trump was at a private event at the UN where he made this not so veiled threat. Watch.
Who's the person that gave the whistleblower the information? Because that's close to a spy. You know what we used to do in the old days when we were smart, right? With spies and treason, right? We used to handle it a little differently than we do now.
First of all, he needs to take the word treason out of his mouth. Number one.
Actually, he could call himself that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I say take it out.
Compromising national security is treason.
Well, I guess, and I don't know the exact definition. I thought treason, actual treason, was when we were at war. But we are having a cyber war.
We're having a cyber war.
Now, isn't this witness intimidation?
Oh.
Is it against the law?
I hadn't even thought of that. But yeah, certainly if there's an impeachment inquiry that has been announced, that could be witness intimidation, Joy.
Yeah. But remember, he did when Michael Cohen was on trial. Remember when he did witness intimidation?
Well, it's a threat. He's a monster.
It's a threat because we used to hang and kill spies, right?
But at the same
so
time,
it's a veiled threat.
the New York Times is reporting details of the whistleblower's identity, which I didn't think they should be doing because of this.
No.
Because there are already threats against this, I believe, man's life.
Is it a guy? We don't even know.
I believe so.
Right,
I
we
mean,
don't know.
again, read the New York Times, but it's highly
they did that.
irresponsible.
Yeah. But you know what amazes me, though, is the president has threatened the leakers. They've had a problem with leaking. Probably the worst we've ever seen in a White House since he's been in office. But what amazes me is still, after all this time, there are people that feel it is more important to be inside the walls and to share important information like this to the whistleblower than it is to resign.
But you know,
right?
But I feel one of the things that disturbs me is he's gotten rid of all of the adults in the room that were inside the wall. Right?
Right.
John Kelly, Mattis, McMaster. Even Jeff Sessions had the integrity to recuse himself. He's instead surrounded himself by people who are willing to do
But this is
cover
what
ups
I was
and
trying to say in the
not
last
tell him to
segment.
stop.
That's what I was trying to say in the last segment. What makes me so sad about this is you have such good people that want to serve our government, that want to help the American people. Why do they want to do that anymore?
Right.
Why would you want to if you have a well-respected career like Joe McGuire, he was a retired Navy officer. He has done, go look at his resume, Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
When he was sitting there yesterday, I can guarantee he was thinking in his mind, how did I get here? How did I live my whole life to help other people? Now I'm here, but it's not fair. But the problem is you're not going to get good people that want to serve anymore.
All right, let's
and
do
that's a
this.
tragedy.
Let's do this one now. Speaker Nancy Pelosi responded to people who accused her of flip-flopping on impeachment. Here's what she said.
It wasn't a question of changing of mind. People say that to me. When did you change your mind? It doesn't change my mind. The facts change the situation. It is wrong for any foreign government to interfere in our elections. And here you have the President of the United States asking for that.
So she had got good timing, I think. She was waiting for the moment, and he handed it to her.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
So this could still backfire, of course. You know, you never know where the country's going to go.
She had to do the right thing, though, and I've been saying it all along. The Congress has a constitutional duty of oversight. They have to do their job. And the reason that I think that this president was emboldened, if these allegations are true, to threaten the Ukrainian president to do his bidding is because he wasn't held to task after the Mueller report came out. It's the only reason he was still willing to go ahead
when he was on the phone to the guy in the
very
Ukraine.
next day.
It's like,
And he
hey, I got
referenced
away
the
with it,
Mueller
man.
report.
Bring it on.
Exactly.
Let's see how else I can destroy the next election.
I think Congress.
Pelosi is reflective of where the country is. If you see where the polls are today, there's been a shift, a double-digit shift in favor of impeachment. I think, you've changed your mind of where you were
Because this
last
one
week
is
as
far
the
more
facts
clear-cut.
come out.
This one is pretty simple to me. I think
Right.
the Mueller report, the American people, it was hard to pin the point, right? Of like,
9 pages.
what was collusion? What can you actually nail him on? What is impeachable? This is pretty clear. And I got to the point a couple days ago, because I've been skeptical, because I feel like the media's been calling Wolf. You have Democrats who have been calling Wolf since before he was in office. And this one, I think most people can understand this is not good.
Okay,
this
Trump,
is bad.
Now, Trump is calling on Adam Schiff to resign. If you watched the thing yesterday, after his dramatization of the phone call that Trump made to the Ukrainian president, he did a little bit of a parody. Watch it.
This is the essence of what the president communicates. I hear what you want. I have a favor I want from you, though. And I'm going to say this only 7 times, so you better listen good. I want you to make up dirt on my political opponent, understand lots of it. And by the way, don't call me again. I'll call you when you've done what I asked. My summary of the president's call was meant to be at least part in parody. The fact that that's not clear is a separate problem in and of itself. Of course, the president never said, if you don't understand me, I'm going to say it 7 more times.
Sometimes the jokes should be left to the comedians. I don't know that worked exactly, but I think he was going for a laugh somehow. And it reminds me of when Trump went, Russia, if you're listening, go and find Hillary's email.
I didn't read it. That wasn't a joke.
And maybe the Second Amendment people will take care of her.
I didn't read it as a joke at all, actually, because when I read the transcript, it sounded a lot like some of the wiretaps that I listened to when I was a federal prosecutor. And remember that Adam Schiff was a federal prosecutor, and I think what he was liking it to was when a mafia don says, I'm asking you for a favor, I'm going to give you an offer you can't refuse. Yeah. And I think that's
There's
where he
a lot
was
of that going around.
But I think if you have to clarify that it's a parody, you've done it wrong. I also think tonally, when you're opening up the investigation into impeaching our president about possible trades for information for money, this is not a time for parody at all. I can't stand Adam Schiff. I think he's the worst kind of partisan in Washington. And they should have some kind of person like a Joe Manchin running this, someone that conservatives are more comfortable with, because he has proven himself to be a partisan hack over and over. And no, with all due respect, you're on the left. Yeah. I'm on the right. And I'm telling you, I don't trust him. And the problem was, as the final holdout, I just said Joe Manchin.
Oh, Joe Manchin's in the Senate.
I know, but I'm just saying someone in that vein.
Republican by all.
But someone in that vein.
Even Nancy, I think, would be better.
The point I'm trying to make is that I don't trust Adam Schiff, and I also I'm the last holdout as usual at this table about impeachment on all things. And I will say that they should have someone up there who is not going to make a parody of it, not going to have to clarify themselves in any way. Someone who's very serious, who's going to lay this out to conservatives and Republicans and Trumpers in the middle of the country who are confused, who don't want a redo of Mueller and the Russian.
But let's face it, that was one small parody. And again, if you've listened to Adam Schiff from the very beginning, he has been cogent, he has been clear, he has been concise, he's on the Intelligence Committee,
so he needs to
Adam Schiff is the man.
Okay,
he is fantastic.
I have to say though,
but with all due respect, again, he doesn't need you. He needs me.
He needs you.
For the final time, these guys don't need anybody at this table except me to believe
it is a little bit rich.
Everybody else.
It's a little rich.
Trump,
wait a second. It's very rich for Trump to say that Adam Schiff, the liar-in-chief. Coming up, it was just announced that J-Lo and Shakira will be headlining the Super Bowl halftime show. And Twitter is going nuts over it. We'll be talking about that right next. To say that, to get out of it, because he basically made this phone call to the Ukrainian President Zelensky one day after Mueller testified. So he figured, well, I got away with it that time.
Yeah.
All the country is now saying is that I didn't solicit help from the Russians, that they gave it to me, but I didn't go after it. Now he's saying, well, you know what? I got away with that. Let's see what else I can do. So he makes a call. He doesn't give the money until he makes it clear to this Ukrainian president that maybe they will help him to go into the election and help him defeat Biden. So that is called quid pro quo. And if they can prove it with the transcript, which he keeps saying, I would love to give it to you. Well, you know, I believe in people should do what they love. So give it up, okay?
Well, I don't think, I think rather than have the transcript, because a transcript can always be redacted for national security purposes, but I think that's what they will do. I still think that Congress should see the whistleblower complaint pursuant to the law.
Yes.
But I also really